Stranger Things 5 updates week 32. This week we really have a lot to talk about because this week we had 3 different photo dumps. First one was obviously from Ross Duffer. Then we also got a few pictures posted by Millie Bobby Brown and also from Noah Schnapp. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So we'll first look at the Millie Bobby Brown photo dump. Now the first picture we have from Millie Bobby Brown is this one. And our first thought right away goes to her bloody nose, then her glasses, and then definitely at her clothes, because we can see this piece of clothing. I don't know what it's called. Either it's a bandana or a scarf. I don't know about it. But anyways, this piece of clothing is quite interesting because this piece of clothing actually matches with some of the shots from the behind the scenes video that we got almost a month back now. From that behind the scenes video, we can definitely say that these two photos matches with this outfit Millie Bobby Brown donning. And seriously, man, I can't help but wonder that what inspired this outfit. Really, it's one of those big mysteries of Stranger Things, isn't it? But now this picture is quite interesting because this picture actually connects with this picture and some of the other pictures from the photo dump of Millie Bobby Brown. But first we'll talk about this picture, because in this picture, this, by the way, first of all, is the dog of Millie Bobby Brown, and you can see that the lights on these sets are red. And when do we get red lights? It's not in the upside down, because in the upside down it's kind of a bluish or black, blue, not a lot of colors, and it's definitely not the real world. But we do know that these red lights actually indicates to Vecna putting someone in a trance, because in season 4 where we saw that when Vecna put Nancy and also Max in trance, we got this whole environment of this red lights and fog and the red lights and all those things. So the fact that in this picture, all of this and the entire picture is covered in some red lights. And also this was a picture posted by the Upside Down page on Instagram. This picture, we can definitely say that these two people are Ross and Matt Duffer, and behind them is the Hawkins lab. And because of the red nature of this picture, the red lights in this picture, we can say that yeah, these two pictures could be taken at the same location. And also the fact that this picture posted by Millie Bobby Brown doesn't have the red lights, but this is actually the Hawkins lab because of this structure over here, and this structure does match with the structure of the Hawkins lab. But now here's the interesting bit, because in this picture we can see the lab is kind of covered with the upside down vines. And that makes me wonder, does this picture takes place in the upside down? But then again, in the upside down there are no red lights, so maybe back and forth between the upside down and the Vecna trance, maybe, or this may be taking place in the real world, who knows. But it's quite confusing. It's good, actually, it's quite confusing. But yeah, Millie Bobby Brown's scenes were taking place at the Hawkins lab, which is quite interesting because of one more reason, which we'll talk about later when we'll discuss about the photo dump of Ross Duffer. But anyways, the next picture from the photo dump of Millie Bobby Brown is this one. Here we can read Millie Bobby Brown Bon Jovi. Now Bon Jovi, this Bon Jovi actually refers to her husband now, because she is married without a lot of fuss. She just got married to Jake Bon Jovi, who is actually the son of John Bon Jovi. I don't know how many of you know John Bon Jovi, but he was a rock star in the 80s and 90s and 2000s as well, and I actually love him. I mean, his band has some stellar songs. You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, It's My Life. This has nothing to do with this picture, but I'm a fan of Bon Jovi and I just wanted to put it out there. Then we have this picture of either it's Ross Duffer or Matt Duffer. I still for the life of me can't differentiate them, but I think this is Ross Duffer, and he's playing with this dog who is the dog of Millie Bobby Brown. And because of this structure behind Ross Duffer, I can say that this structure doesn't really quite match with this structure. But yeah, maybe this is the Hawkins lab. That's it for the photo dump of Millie Bobby Brown. But now let's look at some of the pictures posted by Noah Schnapp. And the first picture Noah Schnapp posted was this one. And this is actually I think so that this is actually the 3D scanning machine, which is used to scan your entire body to help with your body double, because we do know that Noah Schnapp is actually going to have a body double who is going to be a lot younger than him, because the scenes in which that little boy, the little Will, is going to be present are going to be the scenes of the flashback scenes right in season 1, where Will was taken into the upside down, and we'll definitely see that how he survived and all those things. But yeah, this picture does look like the 3D scanning machine. Now this is the second picture in which we can see Mike along with Will. Now this picture was clicked around the set of the WSUK radio station Why? Because in the next picture we can definitely see that if we zoom in, this is the WSQ radio station, and the fact that the woods behind and the grassy land, I do think that these pictures were taking place at the same time. And yeah, I hope so, and I think yeah, this is going to happen, that Mike and Will are going to have a lot of scenes together. The WSQ radio station was present here. This actually matches with another picture of Caleb McLachlan, which was posted by Ross Duffer. We'll talk about that later. Now this is quite curious because I don't think that I have seen this piece of clothing, but in the next picture we can see Noah Schnapp is actually covered in towels. And when does a person is covered in towels? So there are a few theories. Number one might be that he was exposed to the sensory deprivation tank, or yeah, I mean that's quite a stretch, because that would really mean that Will has some powers. I mean that's really quite a stretch. I don't know why I mentioned that. But the second possibility is that he might be soaked in rain. He must have done a rain sequence. Now that brings us to the end of the Noah Schnapp photo dump. Now let's talk about the biggest dump of all, which is of Ross Duffer. So the first picture Ross Duffer posted was this one of Caleb McLachlan, and as I said before that this picture might be taking place at the WSQ radio station as well, because of these pictures posted by Noah Schnapp, because in the back we can see the similar kind of woods, and the grassy land also indicates to the same thing. So we can definitely say that at least Caleb, Will and Mike were actually seen at the WSQ radio station. Now this is quite an interesting picture because yeah, the first of all we can see Millie Bobby Brown, second of all we can see her dog, and third of all we can see in the back Murry Bauman, aka Bald Eagle. And this is a completely different outfit for Murry Bauman, and he's exposing his tattoo on his arm. I mean that's badass. So it's a completely different, out of character kind of a thing for Murry. But just imagine Elle and Murry Bauman together. And if you remember, at the start of season 2, Murry Bauman was actually hunting down Millie Bobby Brown's character 11 because he thought that there was a Russian spy present in Hawkins. And I mean just imagine. And now let me add on to a few things. From the photo dump of Millie Bobby Brown, we established that Millie Bobby Brown might be having a lot of scenes at the Hawkins lab, and the fact that all of these pictures were taking place at the same time, presumably yeah, Murry Bauman along with 11 at the Hawkins lab. That is going to be pretty cool. The Duffer brothers do always love to put different characters together. I mean, not the characters you won't imagine would be together. They bring them together, and also some of the locations as well. This is going to be crazy. But now let's look at some of the monitor pictures which we can see behind Millie Bobby Brown. So the first thing that we can see is the color scheme. The color scheme is definitely that bluish hue, which indicates that these pictures could be taking place at these scenes could be taking place in the upside down. Now let's talk about the third picture. Now this is by far the coolest picture of the entire lot of pictures that we are actually seeing in this video. Yeah, this is really cool. Next picture is of this restricted area. Now this is again a very interesting picture. Hold on, we are going to talk about it. So yeah, first of all, this restricted sign, the first thing that we can see is the blood stains, and these blood stains are actually quite tall. I mean really tall. So we can say yeah, this might not be of the humans but of the Demogorgons, because Demogorgons are tall. They are tall, right? Now let me take you back a few weeks where we saw some paparazzi pictures of some military presence and also some restricted area signs also, and those pictures also include Holly Wheeler riding bike alongside Will and Mike. And also at the end of season 4, we saw a lot of people were actually moving out of Hawkins, fleeing Hawkins, abandoning Hawkins. Probably those abandoned places are now military bases, military camps or military bases, because we do know that there's going to be heavy military presence or heavy military involvement in season 5 in Hawkins, and this restricted area signs and all those things could be set up at the same places where people just abandoned earlier. So that does sound quite interesting, because Hawkins, a lot of people abandoned, and military presence is there, military camps are being set up there, military bases are being set up there. That's interesting. Then we have this doll, this wrapped up in the military clothing. I don't know what to make of it, so we are going to move on to the next picture. Now this picture again indicates to people abandoning Hawkins, because we can see everything must go, sail, Radio Shack. So Radio Shack has definitely put all of its assets on sale. Maybe because they want to leave Hawkins as well, and they want to just make any money that they can by selling everything at cheaper prices. So again, people abandoning Hawkins, those abandoned places being occupied by some military camps or military bases. Interesting. Next picture is about this one, the WSQK radio station. Now we can read here, Jimmy Fast and Lee, weeknights 7 to 11 p.m. Now this time slot of 7 to 11 p.m. on weeknights is the most curious one for me, because when I was breaking down the behind the scenes video, I discussed about this picture and I said, of course, the WSQK radio station is going to be an important place for all of our gang to hang out, and the fact that Joyce and Robin are wearing the same outfits, that might be their uniform of working at the WSK radio station. Or maybe the WSK radio station is completely abandoned and therefore it is not this, the base of our gang. But it's all a confusion now, because we can see that the WSK radio station is actually in working condition. So perhaps the WSK radio station is not abandoned after all. That also means that Joyce and Robin are actually working at the WSK radio station. Now this photo dump is ending with this t-shirt, again WSK, but this guy over here who is sitting in the seat, the hair and the cap, it indicates to, Dustin Henderson. So let's assume that this is Dustin. But the van in which, or the car in which he is sitting, this is not the WSK radio station car, because we can read here HAW, and yeah, it reads to Hawkins. And in the back we can also see this building, and for some reason I do think that this is the Hawkins lab. But what is Dustin doing in a Hawkins lab van at the Hawkins lab? Maybe a time travel scene, I don't know. Interesting. Do let me know in the comments what do you think about this. Now finally, let's talk about the church set, because this week we had a few paparazzi pictures or paparazzi videos. I'm not going to show them, of course. But anyways, there were reports that some big sequences, big scenes were taking place, were actually shot at the church set, and the church set was lit in the red light, which means Vecna putting someone in trance. So yeah, a lot of things were happening at the church set, which actually establishes the church set as a big one for this season, along with the WSK radio station as well. So yeah, these were all the updates that I wanted to discuss about this week of Stranger Things season 5. Please go down in the comment section and please share your thoughts about it as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching.